government ministries, and I actually held the first People's Assembly in Parliament. And we convened a bunch of experts to speak to each of the ministries. So we had Dale Vince from Ecotricity talking to Bays. We had a retired chief superintendent talking to the Home Office. And we held a People's Assembly and built a plan. Because the government doesn't have a plan. The High Court ruled they're not going to meet their own targets for 2050. The RSPB and the Wildlife Trust and the National Trust has decided the government's plan for nature isn't good enough, and so they've launched a People's Plan for Nature. So community climate action is set up to write and enact our climate action plans to meet our respective district and county targets. We've kicked off based around our community farm and our pub, which is a great place to have a conversation, of course, over a pint in East Anglia. We've kicked off with 3 parishes. We've got each of the parishes to formally vote to support the activity, so it becomes parish activity. Not necessarily all plain sailing. 2 parishes voted unanimously. 1, it was very close, 3 to 2, with some significant objections about go and talk to China, go and talk to India, we don't want to be the greenest village, this kind of thing. So it's not necessarily plain sailing, but go to the meetings and get a resolution. The activity is funded by the National Lottery, this bit, because it's replicable, it's scalable, and it leaves a legacy. So we've got our 3 parishes, Hopton, Blow Norton and Falmouth. And we're kind of funded by some of the usual suspects, but this is particularly funded by the National Lottery. And that's Dave, and a bit of fungus on the farm. So we've got 10 acres of land, 6 acres of which is kind of limited market gardening and permaculture to produce food locally, and about 4 acres of it's biodiversity, nature-based conservation and ecology and education. And I love the previous talk about picking up rubbish, because I do that every time I'm walking along the lane. I love the pockets full of it. It's really important, it's everywhere. And on our 10 acres, as you can see, we cleared fridge freezers, CRT monitors, PlayStation controllers, CDs, you name it, car chassis, trailers, tons and tons of plastic, tons and tons of old metal, and that's just from a 10-acre site that we've restored. But we've now got rigs down, we're producing food for the community and to be served at our local pub. We're now having Sunday lunches every Sunday if you want to come along. And the pub is thriving. We've taken it over after 3 years of it being closed. And part of our mission is to take assets of community value into common ownership. I'm going to pause there a moment, just grab my water. Let me find it. Put it down here. So we've taken the pub into community ownership as well. And I'm hoping with the help of people like Chloe from Natural Building Systems, we might be able to clad it in hempcrete or similar, or some kind of hemp cladding. We really want to retrofit it. We want to turn it into a power station. We want to cover it in solar panels. We want a ground source heat pump. We want to be a net exporter of energy, and we want to use that very little of that energy ourselves. Our biggest expense in the pub is a cellar cooler to keep our beer cool, and the biggest export of that is heat. It goes straight up into the atmosphere. So we want to fix that. We want to be the greenest pub in Suffolk. So it starts where we are, starts where you are. Form a group, we're a warm space as well. But you know what, when I was talking to Claire from Suffolk County Council, Community Engagement Officer, she said, have you thought about a cool space? And I hadn't, actually. But you know what, there were 10,000 excess deaths in Europe during the last heat wave. And we are going to need cool spaces. The weather, we've suddenly gone from winter to summer, as we do, and I think it's just going to stay hot from now on. We've got El Nino coming, which means this year is going to be a much hotter year. So stage 1, present a resolution to your town or parish council. That's some of our group at the pub. Voting. Stage 2, hold a series of workshops developing your plan. And this is a deliberative process and a participatory process. So it's our plan. We have a sense of pride in place. We have a civic duty. how are we going to make it better? How are we going to meet our county council target of net zero by 2030 and increase biodiversity along the way? So write your plan, net zero and biodiversity increase. And then we're representing that via a People's Assembly for ratification. So that's again a participatory process of deliberative democracy that allows objection, allows addition, and ultimately the plan will be a living document created by the community, so we'll have a sense of pride in our neighbourhood. And once ratified by our People's Assembly, we're presenting it back to the Parish Council for formal adoption. And we also did some stakeholder mapping, and one of the reasons I'm here, we've identified Suffolk University and the Sustainability Institute as a key stakeholder in what we're doing. There's a number of other stakeholders like Wild East, we're talking to them about parish biodiversity plans. West Suffolk College, we're talking about putting on courses for retrofitting and all the skills that we're going to need to transition to a green economy. And so the Community Climate Action Plan sits alongside a suite of other documents that are normally lodged with the Parish Council. So an emergency plan that probably needs to be revisited, biodiversity plan and a Community Climate Action Plan. And we've now got a wait list of hundreds of parishes, so we invite you to join us and deliver your Community Climate Action Plan. I've got 1 minute left and just wanted to mention degrowth. Now, that's our impact assessment from the Centre for Sustainable Energy. There's a little grey sliver that's waste. There is some shipping in there, but what it doesn't mention is consumption. It doesn't mention consumption. And on that basis, I'm just going to say, when we throw something away, there is no away. So, if we just play that in there, yeah, just very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, can you scroll down and just play that? While we figure out the tech,
Yeah.
there is no way. So really think about the circular economy, what goes where, how we reuse it. There's not enough lithium in the world to supply the demand in the UK, and there is no way when you throw that thing on the ground, or probably even throw it in the bin, because 70% of our rubbish doesn't get recycled. So I invite you to come and see me, come and start writing your plan. Thank you very much. I've been Joolz.